Welcome to Building the Future. I'm your host, Kevin Horick. You can check out new episodes of the show every Tuesday and Thursday at 2 p.m. If you missed an episode or want to get more information about the show, please visit buildingthefutureshow.com. Season 1 of the TV version of Building the Future is now streaming online at buildingthefutureshow.com. Welcome back to the show. Today we have Marc Billings, founder of Black Dove. Marc, welcome to the show.
Hey, thanks for having me, Kevin.
Yeah, I'm excited. I think what you guys are doing with Black Dove is actually really cool and innovative. But maybe before we kind of get into that and exactly what it is, let's get to know you a little bit better and start off with where you grew up.
Yeah, sure. So, I'm stuck here down in South Florida. And
for you.
It truly is. The Canadians love me down here. They love and come and visit us. And Miami is an unbelievably wonderful place to live. I will admit that in my blood, I consider myself a New Yorker.
Got you.
We are, I was born there. My family is from there. And I think I draw sort of the intellectual and business focus, out of that New York community. So, a little bit of both of the East Coast major cities for me.
So, what did you take kind of in university, and kind of what got you down to Florida?
Well, I was brought up down here. My family, in particular, my father moved down to South Florida after a stint in the Army during the Vietnam days.
Oh wow!
So he was looking for some green pastures, and South Florida was that green pasture for him. He was a doctor.
Gotcha.
Came down here, set us up, and we lived I like to say we grew up in a Huck Finn existence.
Okay.
No shoes, hanging out, really wide open territory down here back in the 80s.
That's awesome. So what did you take kind of in university?
So I was lucky enough to go up to Philadelphia, which is a real awakening for me from South Florida.
Okay.
Went to University of Pennsylvania and really started off looking at science and STEM-based activities.
Wow.
Potentially going to be a doctor. Yeah, for sure. Loved it. That's where I grew up, understanding medicine.
Sure.
But I'll tell you, when I got to college, it was the great eye-opening for me. Just the opportunity to go and take classes with amazing professors that were passionate about what they were experts in allowed me this really unique opportunity to open my mind up for the first time and figure out what I was truly passionate about. And I got to take a lot of really wonderful courses up at the school. It's a great school, great people. And the item that stuck with me more than any other was getting to the root of innovation and getting to the root of economics. Right? Why do things happen in our economy? And specifically, why were certain economies more successful than others? We had been coming out when I entered college. We had really been coming out of in the United States. The years where the Japanese car makers were so dominant in our life, right? Lexus, Toyota, right? I mean, they were buying up. The Japanese were buying up all of these assets in the United States. And as a young guy, I didn't have the context to understand that. So I actually spent, my college thesis on understanding, hey, why was the Japanese culture succeeding at such a great rate? And frankly, that research helped, develop my mindset as far as what does it take to innovate? Because that's really what it was down to. It was capital and innovation. But I don't know if we have enough time to get into that process. But I love the topic of conversation, so you let me know.
Sure. No, I think that I would love to talk more about that on maybe a different show. So how did kind of Black Dove come to be, and like what gave you kind of the inspiration to start it?
So my mother, my father was a wonderful pediatrician and a doctor and a wonderful, compassionate person.
Got you.
And my mother had grown up in fashion design.
Okay.
So she was really an artist and very, very creative.
Very cool.
And we grew up in a home that had art throughout the house. And that really, immersed me in this mindset of creativity.
Got you.
But being in the economics game, coming out of college, and actually I did some financial accounting and worked for one of the big 5 accounting firms out of college just to have my first job.
Sure.
Trying to figure out how to balance all these sort of components that were now building inside of me from a curiosity standpoint, right? It was, all right, what makes economies succeed? At the base of an underlying economy, I subscribe to this notion that an economy's success and a government's responsibility is to enable underlying entrepreneurship and businesses to succeed, right? That makes a successful country. And I kept getting closer and closer and closer to the building blocks of an economy. And as I got closer and closer and closer, we started to build things. And I was lucky enough actually to get a job in South Florida building data centers in the late 90s. Yeah. So I moved back to South Florida, and the telecommunications boom was happening in South Florida, was one of the epicenters of it. Interestingly, because long distance, it's a really boring story to be honest, but the summary is that there was a lot of money to be made after deregulation of telecommunications in capturing the international call volume that goes from the United States down to Latin America.
Got you. Interesting. I didn't know that.
And because of that, there was a land rush down here in South Florida because all of the fiber optics money that was being invested by Global Crossings and Level 3 and some of the transatlantic carriers, all of that fiber entered the United States right in downtown Miami, where the cruise ships come in, right? And so, right next to that, that Carnival cruise line, right, is the new fiber lines that came into the city and really provided this foundation that built out a telecommunications infrastructure in South Florida. And that was it for me. Like once I got into building data centers, all bets were off. That was it for me. And, we've been really just having fun trying to leverage all this amazing technology to, make the world, proverbially, not to be too soft about it, but make the world a better place,
Sure.
Enjoy ourselves, create, great intellectual conversations, make the world more efficient, right? How can we contribute to, progressing the world's environments, I guess, and society. So we've had some really, really fun projects down here in South Florida. I was lucky enough to be the first startup accelerator in South Florida in 2008, 2009 with a program called Incubate Miami.
Got you.
South Florida has since outpaced me, and we've got a number of accelerators. The tech ecosystem in South Florida, is really healthy right now. And then we built a few other great companies along the way. I think naturally, it was an obvious problem here in South Florida, which was the notion of shared economy surrounding boats. We built a company called boatsetter.com, like jet setter.
Sure.
And what we did is we put together the first insurance policy that allowed an owner of a boat to peer-to-peer rent that boat to somebody else, right? A sharing economy type asset play. And so that business is doing amazing. And people in South Florida love us because people have more access to boats now.
Sure.
And I was lucky enough to find an amazing CEO and management team, and they were going to be better at running that business. They came from the marine industry, so they took that business and they ran with it. And then as I looked and turned to, hey, what could I really dig in for myself that was deeply, deeply passionate for me? I went back to my roots and really remembered the learning and the passion that my mother had for art, the creative side, the collecting side. And it just seemed about the right timeline. South Florida is a hub of art and creativity now.
Sure.
We've had the Art Basel We've had this Art Basel show that anybody who hasn't been to it should come. It's an amazing. It's the Super Bowl of art for North America.
Oh, really? That's
hundreds
awesome.
of thousands.
Wow.
It's yeah, Kevin. You're a guest, so you should come down. You'll come
Sure.
down to the house. We always have these wonderful parties, and you get to see the greatest assortment of art in the world, all in South Florida in the first week in December.
Wow.
And it's really marvelous. Yeah.
That sounds amazing, actually.
So yeah, you're invited. We got a spot for you.
Awesome,
Come on down.
awesome.
Come on
All
down.
right, we'll talk more about that offline.
Yeah. So when you come down, and I'll give you that tour.
All right.
Right. As a technology person, what you would find really, really interesting is that the galleries over the last maybe 5 years were increasingly starting to showcase digital technology-driven art.
Got you.
Right.
Yep.
Whether that was just video-based, or whether it was other creative uses of technologies that was a creative expression of an artistic vision.
Sure.
And as I was looking at that product, what I was finding was that the art industry was approaching this new art form with, in tech speak, sort of legacy thinking. And what I mean by that is to say that they were taking this artwork that was obviously able to be, duplicated and replicable and distributed with internet type technologies. They were selling this artwork in very small runs, limited editions, 6
Gotcha.
units, 7 units. And when I went and spoke with the art galleries, what I recognized was just that they had not understood yet that distribution platform was not optimal for the art form.
Sure.
Right? They were applying this old thinking towards how this artwork could go to market. And, after beating my head enough time after the discussions with these art galleries to try and help them see the different opportunities, we decided that, let's just build a new platform.
Interesting.
And then we'll go back and we'll show it to artists, we'll show it to galleries.
Sure.
And in the classic sort of lean startup, let's build something and see what people think. Really the reaction we've gotten has been overwhelmingly positive, and just really exciting to be able to see this art form beginning to mature, and our opportunity to help that growth happen.
Sure, I love that. So for people that haven't heard of Black Dove, what exactly is it? Like, you kind of touched on it, but what exactly is it?
Oh yeah, that's always a good starting point. So the world of art is mirroring the world of tech now. Sure. And these beautiful designers and beautiful software developers, may during the day be writing code for Google or doing graphics for Pixar.
Sure.
But these are artists,
Totally.
right? I mean, on so many levels, software developers are artists. And as these software developer talents and graphics talents are coming together, they're producing these, really, really topical, compelling, intellectual works of art in this digital format.
Sure.
And so Black Dove is a distribution platform for that artwork.
Got you.
And so what we've created here, it puts together a lot of the very popular models that exist already in the world.
Okay.
The technology is not really the innovation, just
Sure.
how it all gets put together. And so we offer an artist an online platform where they can create a work of art, upload that work of art to our platform.
Got you.
And then sell that work of art for a very low amount of money comparatively to purchasing a beautiful work of art in an art gallery.
Sure.
I'll get to the numbers in a second to explain how it works for artists and consumers. And our part is that we make it really, really easy for an end user consumer to consume that art, to get that art, to purchase it or subscribe to that artwork. And luckily for all of us, the major manufacturers of television screens, display manufacturers, continue to put out bigger and bigger, higher and higher quality screens that, you know, everybody has in their home in some location. And we've done the really, really simple task, frankly, of enabling these smart televisions that we all now have to have our little Black Dove player app running on the smart TV.
Sure.
Users can then browse and discover artists from around the world. They can build their own private collections, or they can subscribe to our platform, which is just $5 a month. And we do a rotating monthly featured collection for everybody to enjoy. And really pretty easily, you can turn that television that's in your home into a really, really cool, we call it a digital canvas.
Sure.
So, you know, it's really transforms this large black hole in our homes into a modern day piece of artwork. You know, and I would love to get feedback from your audience. So I can't wait to get some, you know, some downloads and let everybody tell us what they're thinking, what they like, what they don't like as we build this out.
Sure. I think what you're doing is awesome in that space. And I love the fact that, you know, you're basically, like you kind of mentioned, is you can basically make any TV into like an art piece. The thing that I found really interesting is you guys also built your own digital canvas.
So we did. We went to our buddies over at Samsung.
Okay.
And
just out of curiosity, did you know somebody at Samsung, or did you guys just cold call or kind of reach out to somebody on social media? Like, how did that relationship start?
It's a great story, but it was all just working the system, to be honest. I did not know anybody at Samsung in particular.
Okay.
I think that we just were the right guys at the right time with the right product, and Samsung is an amazing company. You know, we tend to believe that just based on the size of the company, it's just this, you know, global behemoth of a company, and it's not people. But, you know, individually, there are just, you know, really innovative, passionate people about consumer electronics. So, you know, I didn't deal with some guy whose name was Samsung, but I did find a guy whose name is Namyoung Wayne Lee. His American name is Wayne.
Okay.
Namyoung. And his role and responsibility was to drive a particular digital display, commercial display, which happened to be absolutely perfect for hanging on the wall as a digital canvas.
Got you.
And we were able to customize our code base for that product line, and we shipped our first manufacturing run earlier in February of the past year and sold those out on Amazon. And now we're getting ready to start manufacturing sort of in earnest. That was our MVP manufacturing run.
Sure.
Everybody was really happy with it. And now hopefully by Christmas of this year, we'll have sort of widespread distribution of the digital canvas through Best Buy and Amazon and all the major retailers.
That's awesome. And I love that story. When you and I kind of met a few months ago, I love the fact that you approached this like huge company, right? And you didn't know anybody there, and you figured out how to get them to basically make you a physical product. And so like, I think your story's inspiring in that sense, right?
Listen, you know, to build the quality of screen, I tried, by the way.
Okay.
You know, I started to try and build a screen and manufacture a screen because, you know, it's the world of build your own hardware days these days. How hard could it be to build a screen?
Sure.
Very hard.
I can imagine.
Very hard. And so it just became clear to me that, you know, all we had to do was, you know, in the classic mindset, you know, build on the shoulders of giants, right? And Samsung knows how to manufacture screens better than anybody else in the entire world.
Sure. I think they even do the iPhone screen, right? And they do a bunch of Android screens, obviously. But I think they do the Apple stuff, too. Or they used to, at least.
I've heard that rumor. I can't say I know it for sure, but I've heard that rumor for sure.
Yeah. No, it makes sense.
Yeah.
So
they've really embraced us. They've embraced us, actually.
That's awesome.
There's, confidentially, there's going to be some pretty cool stuff that starts to come out in 2017.
Sure.
It's going to get very, very easy to start having wonderful digital motion art on these screens. That's an important point, by the way, Kevin, I didn't say, which is your audience will see that our artwork is all in motion.
Sure.
Okay? That means it's either video art or it's some type of movement. This is not static images. This is not a photograph. This is living up to the opportunity that these beautiful screens have to offer us. And so there's narrative, there's story. It's linear in what the artist now can work with, as opposed to historically an artist only having one frame to work with, whether that's a painting or a photograph. Now an artist can say, no, I'm going to tell a 15-minute story with my artwork.
That's awesome.
And it begins to sort of bleed the lines of what art is, and it's the artists are really just we're a conduit for these amazing artists around the world, and they're really our customers, right? We want to make sure that the artists around the world are able to sell and distribute their content in the easiest way possible, and we're constantly iterating to make sure that we're enabling them to do so.
Sure. No, I think that's awesome, and like I mentioned before, like, when I saw your platform in person, like it's very impressive, and you're right. It's really cool that you can almost like change the photos on your wall based on like how you feel, or let your guys' system just handle that for me, or I can just like change it if I'm having different types of people over or whatever, right? Like I love that.
Yeah. So we just introduced playlists.
Okay.
So you can begin to
Very
sort of
cool.
build your own Yeah, we're pretty excited about that. We've really focused on the smart TVs in this quarter. We built that digital canvas. We released it first quarter of this year. We saw the success. That was wonderful. Now we're moving that out to market, in a more mass market retail setting.
Sure.
We then decided that we wanted to really perfect the smart TV experience. So we released this week our Apple TV app.
Oh, very cool.
So users can download the Apple TV app and then sync it to their mobile phone, the Black Dove mobile app, and Apple Android. And the way it's all Internet of Things. So you're in essence putting the player on the smart TV, and then you're selecting the artwork and playlist that you want for your TV, all that's cloud-based. And then the TV really just works on its own, right? As long as it's got an internet connection, the artwork will rotate. You can choose you want to rotate it every, X number of minutes, X number of hours, X number of days. So we tried to make it sort of a set it and forget it type of an experience, so that in office environments or home environments, you can just start using your screen to explore the world of art, and it just surprises you all the time. Like, wow, that was incredible. Who did that? What artist was that? And we're really working on that discovery process.
Sure. No, I think that's awesome. And you added Chromecast too, as I understand?
Yeah, so we've got the Chromecast, works out of the box with the screen, with the app. The Apple TV app was just released. An Android TV app will probably be out in the next couple of weeks.
Okay.
A Samsung Smart TV app will be out in the next couple of weeks. We should be, and then Roku will be, I think, the last one. So we should be on all smart TVs, sort of, by the end of the summer.
Sure.
And that'll get pretty exciting. We're really interested. We've got users. One of the great things about this company, it's been so much fun for us to enjoy, is that it's a truly international product. The art is it doesn't have language; it's visual only.
Totally.
And so we've got users in over 98 countries currently.
Well, that's awesome.
Which is really fun for us. Yeah.
Sure. No, that's really cool. So, I'm kind of curious, without kind of giving away everything that you're doing, like where do you kind of see the whole kind of digital canvas kind of digital kind of art, for lack of a better term, kind of going? Like, I know you added motion and whatnot, and you guys are adding all this kind of cool, innovative stuff to it. But do you see it like? Do you have any predictions or kind of things you're seeing where this whole space is going to go?
Every deployment that we do now, we're doing, a couple of deployments per week, per week of the digital canvas right now. Forgetting the smart TV app, that's sort of out there in cyberspace, and users download it, and we're not meeting them face to face, just online. But the digital canvas buyers are, they're growing right now. We also interoperate with a line with another part of the Samsung line of screens, which are the commercial screens. So bars, restaurants, and then luxury high-end homes. Yeah. I mean, the world, we're getting a wonderful, wonderful response. And so I would tell you the answer, the big-minded answer to, the show about technology for you is that, the world will never go backwards. Once distribution is in place, whether it's us or somebody else, the artists are innovating at such a rapid pace right now. The quality of the content is so relevant. I think that's what really resonates with our customers, is that they're getting the current mindset, right? An artist who creates a work of artwork today, they can get, right? It's just relevant. It's current technology. It feels really, really good when you're in this artwork. It feels relevant to you. And so, frankly, I think that I think it's a backlog. I think once the technologies work themselves out, once these screens are becoming rapidly available, I think the level of innovation that's going to go into the space is going to happen much faster than most people believe. Our early adopter community is giving us a lot of, positive head nodding right now. So I'm very confident that, over the next 5 years, most households will begin to contemplate, how are they either situating their television to maximize the art impact, right, or actually purchasing a digital canvas, whether it's Samsung or other providers that will be coming to the market with screens over the next year. It's going to be an amazing transformation of the interior. I call it the digital interior, right? That's sort of our concept, right? What does the interior look like in the digital future?
No, totally. So I know you kind of touched on this a little bit earlier, but we didn't really get into it much. What is kind of your guys' business model? So what does it kind of cost the consumer? And then how do you guys kind of make money outside of, obviously selling a digital canvas, but obviously you must try to make some money off of, maybe a small commission out of, setting up the whole kind of distribution platform?
Yeah, so, we really tried to figure out how to optimize this particular model. If you look back historically and you look at iTunes, Netflix, Spotify, Pandora, ebooks through Kindle, right? You can draw upon all of those various models and come up with an approximation of, how does distribution need to happen, and how does the artist or the creator get paid? But the challenge in art compared to books, compared to music, is that there's been a fairly significant disconnect. Artists are used to selling artwork for thousands of dollars. Sure. Right. The notion of turning a $5,000 work of art and then pricing that on our platform for, say, $5 is really scary. It's scary as an artist. Right. It's, I'm used to getting a nice check, and that's, to pay for this labor that I put in, and how are you going to guarantee how many sales I'm going to have? And of course, the argument is, as the number of users scales on a global level, right, those artists should be able to be significantly more efficient with their distribution and grow their share of the pie because there'll be more users. The problem is that users are so used to a monthly subscription model now for consumption of media, the Netflix and the Spotify model, that it's difficult to get consumers to believe that they need to spend a whole bunch of money on this new type of art. There's a little bit of a disconnect there where, it's a digital piece of media and, do I really need, how much am I going to spend? Am I going to spend, even $100 or $500 by clicking purchase on my mobile application to put it on my screen? And so we had to find a really nice balance between the two customers, right? The consumer and the artist, right? The two-sided marketplace here.
Got you.
So what we ended up with is a light $5 a month, at least for now, that's what we'd be going at $5 a month, entry-level subscription, where the subscribers are going to get access to somewhere between 50 and 100 works of art per month.
Okay.
And those works of art are going to rotate every single month.
Got you.
And that gives our users, our subscribers, the ability to continue to discover and experience new artwork that's coming onto the platform.
Sure.
It also gives us the opportunity to showcase artists that are creating great works of art. And then once that art rotates off of the subscription delivery, it then becomes available for sale in a marketplace that's listed under that particular artist.
Got you.
That enables the artist to sell their artwork, and we think that pricing will end up, we've got art for $1.99 now. Artists are starting to understand, because each artist gets an individual URL for their online gallery and for their individual work of art when they do the upload.
Got you.
And so the goal here is that we really want to enable an artist to be self-reliant, right? They can create their own artwork. They can upload it onto our platform. They'll get back the URL, and then they can post that URL, post that artwork onto their social platforms.
Got you.
And they can build their own online gallery and immediately trigger their own sell-through, right?
Sure.
So that's the mechanism, right? Use the subscription to grow the customer base, and then allow the artists to figure out how much should their work be priced at, and what's the type of work that people want to see, and then over time, as the subscribers and the installed base increases, hopefully that allows the artists to have a bigger and bigger platform to monetize their work.
Yeah, no, I think that makes a lot of sense. And I think it's really cool. And I think, I love the fact that you're basically creating a whole new market, right? Like, this really hasn't been done before.
It has not. We've been doing it now for a couple of years. So, we're started. It's now sort of part and parcel for who we are. We all have screens in our homes. Like, living without a Black Dove screen in my own personal home would feel really, really weird to me now.
Sure.
I'm so used to walking down every single morning to get surprised about what artwork is on my wall that it would just be weird, right? It'd be like not having news on my iPhone or something like that, right? It's a part of my life now. And so, slowly but surely, people are beginning to accept this art form. Again, I think we're just a part of it, right? I mean, we're just listening. We're just seeing what the artists are doing, making sure, again, that this beautiful artwork gets out to people. We're in the fortunate position, to build a technology platform, doing this wonderful business, which we love. So hopefully, we're going to get that feedback from consumers. We're getting great feedback right now. Hopefully everyone begins to explore and really give the artists feedback of what they love.
Sure.
And that will help grow this medium.
Well, yeah, too, because if they can see what types of stuff sells better than others, they can kind of go more in that style or whatnot and make more money. And then you're also giving people, the ability to get art from all across the globe when they probably would never have access to it, right? Unless you're traveling the world buying art all the time, you're not going to have access to a lot of the artists.
Yeah, we've somehow grown used to the fact that you move into a new house or a new apartment, and then you go to IKEA or you go to your local art
Yeah,
store. You put something on your wall, and you like it when you put it up there. That's cool. But very shortly thereafter, right? You're not replacing artwork every single week or every single
sure.
month in your home or apartment, right? So, my personal feeling and what gets so exciting with this is that art is really it's almost like a human right. Like it's our right to have creativity around us.
Sure.
We see it in music. We all listen. We've got great ability to discover new music with great platforms like Spotify, Pandora, Apple.
Sure.
We can go to Amazon. We can discover new books that we want to read, news articles online. But art really hasn't made it yet into that level
You're right.
of
Totally right.
digital distribution,
Yeah.
right? So, that's for me what's so exciting, right? I think it's this new. It's like eating fresh food. It's discovering something new. It's visiting a place that you have never seen before, and what type of intellectual stimulation do you get? Your synapses are firing. Oh my God, I can't believe how beautiful this is. And hopefully that's the effect that we're enabling by building the simple platform. Again, it's all about the artists. But what's lucky for me in this is that I think the artists always make fun because I'm their biggest fan.
Sure.
Right? Like I'm texting back and forth. We're
That's
chatting
awesome.
online at 3 o'clock in the morning. I mean, I get as excited as anybody when a new piece of art comes out and is on. It lights me up. I get so excited. All I want to do is make sure more and more people can see it. So I got the easiest job in the world right now.
Love it, man. This is totally a change in direction, but I'm really curious. I really like the logo. Who did it? Just out of curiosity.
Yeah, actually, one of my co-founders, a guy named Tito Gaudenzi, did that logo. He's a great brand guy,
Sure, I love
and he
it.
did a wonderful job. Oh, I'll make sure he gets that feedback when he listens. Absolutely, thank you for that.
Sure, yeah, no. We're kind of coming to the end though. So do you want to maybe kind of close the show with again maybe a quick recap of the platform, kind of where you like obviously what platforms you're on, where you guys are going, and then mention where people can find you guys online and any other social media links you want to mention?
Oh yeah, sure. Always appreciate that. Yeah, so our goal with Black Dove is to allow the seamless distribution of video and motion art around the world. And from a consumer standpoint, we have delivered smart TV applications, television applications that allow you to turn any smart television into a digital canvas. So we would love your listeners to download our mobile app, which is available on both iOS and Android, and then discover which of the various platforms are easiest for them to communicate with their screen. We've got out-of-the-box integration with Chromecast. We've got a tvOS Apple TV app that they can download from the Apple TV App Store. The Samsung app, the Android apps are all being delivered right now. So any screen in the world will instantly be able to turn into a digital canvas, all controlled by our mobile phone application, which is getting new art every single day in from the artists. If you want to upgrade and you're ready to incorporate a dedicated device inside of your home or your office to the artwork and really be art replacement in your living room, your foyer, check in with us for our next batch of screens that will be coming out for our digital canvas product. And that's really that, wonderful, truly dedicated art experience. You can find us online at all the different social media sites at Black Dove Art. Our URL is blackdove.com. And Instagram, Black Dove Art, Facebook, Black Dove Art. And I am, if anybody wants to reach out to me personally, you could reach me at Marc, MARC, at blackdove.com.
Love it. Marc, thanks again for doing this. I really appreciate you taking time into your day to be on the show.
Kevin, thank you so much for featuring us.
Yeah, and I look forward to kind of keeping in touch with you for the rest of the year and kind of beyond. And I I look forward to kind of seeing where you guys take this thing.
Hey, let's not forget about that December visit to the Art Battle Show.
Yes. Let's have a long conversation about that beyond this recording.
Awesome, Kevin. Thanks so much for the time today.
All right. Later, man. Have a good day.
Thanks, buddy.
Bye. Thanks for listening. The music for the show is done by Electric Mantra. You can check them out at electricmantra.com and keep building the future.